Subscribe to our YouTube channel, News Now Nation, for in-depth interviews and press the bell icon so you do not miss any of our updates.
Welcome to another episode in the News Now Nation show, and welcome back to the News Now Nation channel. Today we have an extremely esteemed member of the industry here talking with us today. We have Mr Vinkesh Gulati, and today we're really excited, especially because for two reasons. We're going to talk about industry trends. We're going to talk about how a lot of industries look from a bird's eye view and a helicopter view, and specifically we're going to talk about the automobile industry. So thank you, sir, for taking out the time to talk to us today. We're extremely grateful to have you.
Yeah, it's my pleasure, Mishri. Thanks for inviting me over.
All right. Brilliant. So just to give a basic introduction of who you are, and I'm sure I'm missing a lot of things because I remember when I got your brief, I was like, my God, how am I going to remember this? Because there is so much that you're doing. But one of the primary things I think is that you're the president of FADA, which is the Federal Automobile Dealers Association. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. So just to start, what exactly does that mean for people who are not familiar with what the FADA does? And if that is the correct abbreviation of it, what do they do and what exactly is your role in deciding industry trends?
So basically, we pronounce it as FADA and not FADA. And this is an apex body for automobile dealers for India. And practically anything you see on road which has a tire and a motor comes into our foray. So all the dealers, even they are selling, if a small e-rickshaw they are selling, or as high as trucks they are selling, or construction equipment. So every dealer is a member or can be a member of this association. So as the point says, as the name says, Federation of Automobile Dealers Association. So it's for this association is for the dealers, and basically it acts as a mediation between dealers, government, and the manufacturers of the vehicle which we go through, which we see happen. So that's the main goal of this association, to have a good harmony between all the stakeholders, and doing that improve the retail front in India and take it to a level of whatever the best westernized countries are doing.
Absolutely. That makes sense. So what I understand is the FADA works with dealers and it sort of creates a union of the dealers, almost like a collection and for them to share ideas, a space for them to help each other. And also because it becomes such a strong body that represents such a strong industry in the country, it then also works with the government, it works with other third parties to better the retail front, is what you said. Are there any other specific goals about, helping when you say that we want to reach Western standards, what exactly does that mean in terms of, where the automobile industry is going?
See, practically, we all know that India is still a developing country, and there are a lot of countries world over which have already developed to a level which where you can say the market is matured enough. So that's a different. But on the other hand, India has its own USPs, or the niche market. So like India is the biggest two-wheeler market in the world. So that is because that we have a big chunk of rural markets. Somewhere we can say the not so good rural road infrastructure is also forcing us to have more two-wheelers than car-wheelers.
Yeah.
But that's a benefit. So we Indians try to find out benefits in adversity. So that is how we have grown up. So if you talk about even three-wheelers, so we are one of the biggest market in the world. But as you talk about the emerging trends, the latest trends like electric vehicle, hybrid vehicles, we all are not in the similar league as the westernized countries which are developed. Then addition to that, the marketing process, or the insurance running process, or the system by which a retail happens, is very advanced in most of the other countries which are the top 5-6. Whereas we are normally hovering we were number third till 2 years back. Then currently, because of the pandemic and the effect in India, we are today at 4. So, but even being in the top 5, our working style, or you can say processes, what we handle, is not comparable to even the top 10. So there are a lot of changes which happen. So it's everything has a timeline to do. So this government is helping us a lot. So we are working on faceless registration, touchless things, which wasn't there. So if I talk of 5 years back, a customer and a dealer had to do lot of physical things to get a registration done, going to the RTO and all that. But these are things of the past. So already 6-7 states have come to a process where everything is digital. No physical movement of papers is happening. So things are improving every day, and that is where FADA comes as a role, because the issue of a dealer as deep as maybe Unna or Pratapgarh in UP would be a vast line, majorly different from a dealer of Delhi. So, but what happens? The Delhi dealer will have a lot of resources, lot of influential power on the people who make the decision, and Delhi will actually come to the best track maybe in a year or two. But for rural people to get that benefit, they need somebody to represent. That's where FADA comes in.
Correct. That makes sense. Something else you mentioned while you were talking about this was the impact of the pandemic. And obviously, the pandemic has had a multitude of impacts all over. And so I want to ask you specifically, when we talk about the automobile space, specifically, and I want to specifically focus on smaller dealers, not your, really, really large dealers, because I feel like the large companies have more of a stomach to survive the punches that the pandemic throws at them, or that any, circumstance throws at them. I'm talking about smaller dealers and smaller showrooms. How have they dealt with the pandemic? Have things shut down? What has been its impact?
So overall, smaller or bigger, pandemic has affected one and all this time. Yeah. So last year it was still different. It was an uncertainty when we entered to the lockdown. So we were actually not aware what does a lockdown mean. So I feel everybody in this life must have gone first time when you are restricted to your home for so many days. We have heard about curfews, but we have never heard about these kind of lockdown where most of the people are inside. So it has affected one and all. But yes, you are right. The big dealers have the stomach. Their normal debt equity ratios are better. But the dealers who are in smaller place or who are still struggling to survive, for them, this is a big jolt. And that is where we are trying. So we have in this lockdown also, and last time also, we had represented to the government to support these type of dealers for. So last time we were able to get the restructuring and the moratorium thing faster. But this time, because the lockdowns have been intermittent and state controlled, the center has yet not come out with a big policy. But I feel within a week, the kind of follow-ups we are doing through banks, through IBA, the NBFC bodies, and the Finance Ministry and RBI, within a week they will be able to announce some support. So basically, as a dealer, what a small dealer wants, it actually wants that this retail goes on. So he is given an opportunity to open the shutter and actually sell whatever is in his stock, which is not possible. So if he has invested an X amount and got the vehicles, and if he is not able to retail, that X amount has to be paid within a period of time. So this is normally not a year or two. This is normally 30 days, 15 days or 45 days.
Yeah.
And if you are in a lockdown which is 30 days or 45 days or 50 days in a length, you cannot retail those vehicles, and automatically your trench, we normally call it as a trench, your trench days are over. If you don't pay that payment, you come in a default line. So it affects your CIBIL rating, it affects your credit worthiness, and indirectly it affects your future opportunity of business, because that will be a black spot in your in your CV always. This is the time when you couldn't pay out. This wasn't his problem. This was a national calamity, and the lockdown was imposed by the government, not by him. So that is where the problems are. And additional, what is happening is that the small dealers normally don't have that stomach, or you can say the savings to pay whatever their overheads are, and which is one thing is major is the manpower cost.
Yeah.
Second is interest cost, and third is the overall overheads.
Yeah.
And fourth is this family survivability also, because that is also on him.
Yeah.
So he doesn't have that much capability or the support from the saving which he can do. So anything between 15 days and 30 days is still possible because the rotation was there, he had some money.
Yeah.
But as it goes above 30 days, it goes out of his hand also. So that is where last year also we saw some problems. No doubt FADA came forward, tried to support, and we could support some, but we couldn't support all. And this time again the situation has happened, and we are in a fix, because if we talk of Maharashtra, it started on 5th or 7th April.
Yeah.
And we know that it is 1st June, so it's already more than 50 to 5 days. If you close down your shop for 55 days, how can you survive? So that's where we are trying to push in the manufacturers to come in and support such kind of dealers. So overall, we are happy that like Tata passenger vehicle and one or two more Tata commercial vehicle and one or two more Renault cars have come up and given a support to small and big all dealers, depending upon what their liabilities are. But still, a lot of manufacturers have to come up and support. And this is one thing is very clear. If I talk about our manpower, so maybe this lockdown is a stress on them and us too. But if we don't support them today, tomorrow when this lockdown is not there and the market is there and the customer comes in, as a dealer, I cannot sit on a counter and deal all 100% customers. So I need that manpower. So I cannot take the risk that if 2 months is closed, I will not pay you. I'll have to support his family also. Because everybody is on me as a dealer. So that is where a big issue comes in. So how to survive on your own for your family, manage this manpower. Some dealers are able to do it, some dealers are not. We as an association try to support wherever we can. But we hope also that things will improve faster and we'll be able to stand on our leg and see how to survive this issue.
Yep, absolutely. I think one thing that was a learning for me was that the turnaround period, or like the working capital period for the automobile industry is so small, because you always think, that, and a car is a very long-term investment, and that's the public perception. That is the perception that somebody like me who's not really involved in the automobile industry would have. But the fact that, it's 30 days and interests are due in 30 days and then uske baad interest will start, is extremely scary. And you're right, agar lockdown, I'm in Maharashtra, lockdown has been going on for 2 months now, and we still don't know if it will open, and we still don't know if this thing, and even if it does open, considering that everybody's salaries are back getting cut, salary cuts, who is going to make the decision right now at this point to go and buy a car? So sales are affected in a multitude of ways. And you're right, another important thing that you said is that manufacturers and people who small time dealers have liabilities towards need to be the most, they need to step up and sort of make way for them and give them leeway, because it's not their fault. Like we said, it's not even a national, it's a global pandemic, so it is a problem that everybody is going through. So how so if they don't support now, if they don't take one for the team now, all these retailers will shut down and the entire industry will be disrupted. So I think it's really important, and I hope more manufacturers step up, more people who are owed lines of credit, step up and take, whoever has the stomach to bear loss comes up and takes it, because otherwise it will be a very, very scary situation. Moving on, another thing I read was that you are a member of another organization called CII. Just to our people, again, our viewers who might not be very familiar about the organization, can you just give us a little bit of a background and overview?
I'm a member there, but I'm an executive member in 50, which is basically an industry body where all the big industries are members. And overall, they also have a similar goal of working towards putting India in a better level. So like our PM has given a 5 trillion economy, target to everybody,
Mm.
be it service sector, be it trading sector, be it manufacturing. If it is working anyway, how we can take that further.
Mm.
So we work on a lot of things where we can innovate things, or we can reduce our imports from China or all the across states. So that's a process where we can increase the manufacturing GDP a lot. So as you know, as of today, if we are talking about auto industry 49% is the part of the manufacturing GDP. So overall, we have to increase the share of manufacturing GDP in the GDP so
Yeah,
that the growth of our country is also. So City also works on a similar pattern to
absolutely.
work with the government how to improve the normal standard life of Indians along with increasing the support from the industries and manufacturers.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I have heard. I think one way I've heard Fiki is they do a lot of marathons, Fiki Flow Marathon. I've heard a lot. So yeah, that is another very important organization. Since you are part of so many organizations and your interactions happen with so many industry leaders, one thing that I want to ask you, and I think this is a question a lot of people in my generation have, because, and I think it's a question. If I'm very honest, a lot of times is ignored by people in the slightly older generation. That is a question of sustainability, the question of caring for the environment and making sure when we develop in a sustainable manner. I am a law student myself, so I know for a fact that environment laws in the country are problematic. We can get into a whole debate about how they are. There are a lot of issues with the bodies that are created. There are a lot of issues with the systems that are created there. It is definitely not sufficient to protect the environment the way international standards and international activists are calling for. But in terms of industry leaders and in terms of industries in general as a group, how are we going to make our businesses, our factories more sustainable and more we actually care a little bit more about the environment so the world survives for a longer time?
Okay, I'll give you an example of another association where I'm involved. We are doing. So I'm a part of this association named India Against Road Traffic. So for the past 4 months, we were involved where some 8 ladies, girls, not ladies, girls, drove from Wagah border to Kanyakumari to show how with distance and a proper speed they can drive and avoid accidents and all. But there, what we have done for the period of 2 months, we have given an app for every driver who was interested and recognize wherever there is progress. So they mentioned the distance, not lot of jerking, not lot of brakes, and all those things. So there is what I come out from it. So you have to come with a carrot and stick activity, anything if you want to go ahead.
Yeah.
But in the environment or the pollution or whatever you say, I've seen India work on the 6 points on the government normally uses the six more than the carrot process. So what I feel, I'm not saying that these laws are not good or the ministry is not good. Maybe they have their own ways of implementing it or whatever. But I know a lot of industries who are working in a way that they support the environment. So I know a dealer who is Mr. Vinkesh Gulati of Raipur, who has banned plastic in full electric dealers and at home also. So, yeah, if you have banned plastic, how will you return customer the parts to the dealer?
Yeah.
You have to increase its cost by using some use tax and all that.
Yeah.
So, he had that thing in him that I have to support. So, even I know about the factories or offices where they are not using electricity. They are working on 100% solar or a way where they are able to manage electricity genuinely. So, don't have air conditioning, they have some system of water flowing in their pipelines which cool the area.
Correct.
So I know about a Jaguar factory in Gurgaon which works on the same. It's a green factory as per my information.
Yeah.
So there are a lot of good things happening in the country.
But the problem is there is nothing called best practice sharing in this. So
Hmm.
if as a manufacturer I want to do something, the first instinct what will come is you will have to hire a consultant. And
Hmm.
as you hire a consultant, a cost comes to it.
Yeah.
Whereas I am already increasing a cost by improving all this,
Yeah.
but an additional cost of a professional which could be a lot. Maybe
Yeah.
I cannot cost that.
Yeah.
What I think this is the right way. Maybe activists like, even if you want it or the government wants it, if they start giving best practices, and those best practices which are not very costly, and even
Yeah.
a small industry which has a turnover of maybe 10 crores or 2 crores in a year can adapt to improve it.
Yeah.
So this is one thing where when we talk with people, everybody is interested. But after the discussion, if you ask them what is the takeaway or what are they going to do, everybody is confused. Because
Hmm.
when we start talking of lead, carbon, footprint, blah blah, it looks like that it's a bouncer to most of us.
Correct.
So there is nothing do-it-yourself book where we can at least think of, let's start small steps out. May not, let's do in a year only 5% of improvement in our overall footprint. It could be waste
Yeah.
management, it could be electricity management. There are a lot of things, not
Yeah.
only one thing where we have to do
Yeah.
it. So I think somewhere the stick is needed, no doubt it is needed, but we need a carrot also. And
Yeah.
and the carrot doesn't mean money. Carrot could be only recognition. That is also
Yeah.
important. So, giving the top 100 list of manufacturing that ready to support this will be a big thing. I know I'm not the right person to answer that, but as an industry leader or as a dealer
Yeah.
or as a businessman, these are the thoughts what come to me.
No, absolutely. I understand what you're saying, and I understand what you're saying about the carrot philosophy also. That there is no incentive right now to be better, apart from you have your own, method. You feel like being more sustainable, and I also understand what you said about the fact that there is a problem of in industries and members of industry, that is businessmen, wanting to do better but not knowing how to do better. And sustainability does come at a price, there is no doubt about it. The reason I mentioned it is because oftentimes people look up to bodies like FADA, look up to bodies like FICCI, look up to these bodies because these bodies sort of lay down standards also, without intending to. They are not compulsory standards, I'm sure, but in certain ways they lay down standards. And oftentimes, of course, this is my personal observation. I feel like even like, for example, for real estate, there is another body called CREDI, and I think it is on similar lines of the real estate version of what FADA is. And while they're making leaps and downs, they're making a lot of good decisions in terms of labor rights, labor laws, etc., etc. I feel like the whole discussion around environment protection, the whole discussion is a little stunted in our country yet. And as we move towards like deadlines and every day we are reading news, it's a little bit of I feel like even though it should be only the responsibility of the government or, like you said, activists, it sometimes comes on industry leaders, because who else to look up to except your industry leader?
I want to add one thing. See, as an auto, for us, the way environment is being projected, the way to reach a good solution level is being projected is not the, I say, not the correct process. So, like, we as dealers got this issue of BS4 to BS6 conversion just last year. And the government was agreed that due to the lockdown, this is not the right time, it should be given an extension. The Supreme Court didn't. So as a body of we had to go to Supreme Court and explain that thus it is not only manufacturing industry. There are some 26,000 dealers which will get affected because they have vehicles in their dealership and you have done a lockdown. How do you expect that a lockdown which was started on 21st or 23rd of March, in the last date was 31st March? How could you expect that those lockdown expectation or will be done a lockdown everybody knew and would have planned before?
Yeah.
Problem is that I agree. This is an important issue. But there is a humanitarian instinct also to that.
Absolutely.
You are blocking one thing which is coming in, but you are not able to block the other thing what is actually happening. So you talk of Delhi, there are a lot of restrictions, but they are not still able to manage the stubble burning. They are not able to still manage the pollution because of the road traffic jam. And then just because they are not able to do their own job, they try to find out the scapegoat where they can announce and implement things and blah blah blah. What's this approach? So pollution is not a Supreme Court issue or a government issue or a manufacturer issue, it's a dealer issue. It's a common issue. So there should be a common understanding of what we are looking at and where do we want to go. So somewhere I think the overall things are flawed and being used as a more of a publicity stunt.
Absolutely. No, I understand what you're saying, and because it's a common issue, in fact, because it's not just one person's problem, it is a nationwide problem, and it is a nationwide solution that has to come up. Everybody, I feel like what tends to happen is a lot of pointing fingers, and one person points to the other person points to the third, other person points to the other, government to here to here, and because of that, nobody thinks one like ownership and solutions are not created. I think one of the ways I'm hopeful that in the coming years we see changes by discussion, because that's the only way, because the government has their own point of view, dealers have their own point of view, manufacturers have their own point of view, customers have their own point of view, environmental ambassadors have their own point of view. So somehow common ground has to be reached, and hopefully we have productive discussions and fruitful discussions in the future that will lead to that. But yeah, I think it was great that you mentioned that. I think it's a very important topic. All right. Anything else you would like to say about anything at all before we conclude this interview?
So basically, what another issue is important is current level of India. As I said, we have automotive governing body there, also governing other member there also. What we feel as leaders, as the association of us, our total education system needs an overhaul. The current government is trying to do some stuff, and they are putting a lot of focus on the skilling, but it needs a faster revival on that. And as of today, stories like so much percentage of MBAs are not employable, or these numbers of engineering graduates are not able to do something. It's actually hurting the overall manpower employability of India. If it's wrong, okay, the researchers are needed, the figures have to come up, but this is not giving the right picture. We Indians are able to do wonders once we are out of India. Just from US, top percentage of working good doctors will be Indian, engineers would be Indian. But when we talk of India, we say that doctors are not. A lot of people fighting against doctors, going to court for against them. Whereas same level of doctors in US are enjoying the reputation of the Indian service. So I think somewhere the support system, the infrastructure, the process of education needs to change. And in ASBC we are trying to do whatever best we can. So we have tried to involve a lot of universities where we are offering some vocational courses which is related to auto, because we are an auto body. So that is one thing where we are doing a lot, and I hope that this skilling and employability of our manpower, of our students improve, because as you know, we are the youngest nation in the world today, and if they don't get what they deserve, it will be a problem. And if they are able to get what they deserve, so I think it will not be long when we will be easily becoming a developed country very soon.
Absolutely.
We have a lot of hands to work, and a lot of earnings through them, a lot of creativity, a lot of startups, and more entrepreneurs on the work.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so that's where another thing I'm working on, and hopefully it will improve that.
Absolutely. Brilliant. I think that is extremely important, and employability and unemployment, both, I feel like they're two different topics. The fact that they are unemployed and the fact that a lot of people believe that they are unemployable. Both are extremely relevant problems, and it is brilliant that, vocational courses and courses that bridge the gap between the current education system and the employability are coming. I think that is extremely important, and it's great that industry leaders are taking part in that shift.
So, personal skill also, we have a university, we have in the personal scale also, we are trying as a family to improve at least the Eastern UP area of student employability on the factors and all that. So, no doubt everybody's hands are not that free because of the government guidelines of what the post selection and all that. But still, we are trying to support by giving them some short-term certificate courses, AI and all that. So they are actually adapt to place when they after the graduation or the degree they are taking after 2-3 years, when they actually reach a level where they have to compete with the big people of the industry. They actually have the base knowledge of that course.
Yeah.
Maybe this is a normal thing that we are a normal basic knowledge what we are imparting.
Yeah.
And a specialization of something will have to join some bigger specialized institution. So that we are creating a base for them so that they are when they go for any job opportunity, they know what they are entering into, and they can just better than other students who are vying for that thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I understand what you're saying, and somebody once told me that knowledge has the power to create revolution, and it empowers people like nothing else ever can. You can give them money, you can give them anything, but knowledge will empower them permanently, and it will create revolution. So I think that's great, and a revolution is coming, and people like you are participating in it. So that is brilliant. I don't have any more questions for you. This was an extremely educative conversation for me personally, regardless of anybody else. I learned a lot about the automobile industry. I learned a lot about how associations work in general. And I hope all of our viewers who watch this also understood about how these things look from such a helicopter's view. So thank you so much for taking the time. This was great. And I hope everybody who's watching this also enjoyed.